generation of children in the state of Texas who began to be sentenced for crimes such as capital murder, aggravated kidnapping, sexual assault, rape, attempted capital murder. I became one of the first children at the age of 14 years old in Tarrant County in Fort Worth, Texas, to be tried, adjudicated, and sentenced for the crime of murder. Right? Me and three of my friends decided to skip school one day, go to the mall, and we was going to go to Foot Locker. And the only plan was to go steal some starter jackets and some hats and run out. We didn't have no intention on killing nobody. But anytime you put children in or around the presence of guns, you can never predict the outcome. So in the process of us stealing jackets as teenagers, my 16-year-old friend ended up shooting a Caucasian guy by the name of Michael Levy, who saw us running out of the mall with those jackets and tried to stop us. Mr. Levy had just gotten married 3 days prior to his death, so he'd only been married for 3 days. The newspapers read, "Hero dies trying to thwart teenage shoplifting." So I became a historical kid at that moment. I can name you about 4 or 5 of the kids who left Fort Worth, Texas. I can name you hundreds of kids who left Dallas, Texas. I can name you hundreds of kids who left Houston, Texas. I can name you thousands of kids who I grew up with from the age of 14 to 21. I grew up with kids who killed their mothers and their fathers. My first roommate was a guy by the name of Billy. He killed his mother and his father, but he used to be abused by his father. One of my best friends in there was a 12-year-old kid who stabbed his next door neighbor 93 times. 93 times at the age of 12. 93 times at the age of 12. What kind of anger can a 12-year-old have? Is he a monster? Is that a bad kid? Is that a bad person? To kill your next door neighbor who was your best friend. Stab him 93 times. Stabbing somebody is not like shooting somebody. It's up close and personal. It's nasty. It's disgusting. But this 12-year-old kid, when he was stabbing his best friend Kelly, he was doing the very same things to her that his father used to do to him. Because children mimic what they see and repeat what they hear. When he was 5 years old, when Terrence was 5 years old, his dad gave him his first brutal beating. Terrence says when he was 5 years old, that's the first time he had his first homicidal thought. 5 years old, he had his first homicidal thought after a severe beating from his father. He was in the bathtub, having this thought when his dad walked in and said, "Son, I'm sorry." Imagine if his father would have said, "I'm sorry," before the thought came. Imagine if his father would have came and repaired the harm and the pain and the hurt before that homicidal thought entered that baby's mind at 5 years old. Only to end up at 12, getting on top of his best friend, stabbing her. His father used to choke him and say, "Why did you lie?" He did the same thing to his victim. Why did you lie? What triggered a 12-year-old kid to commit such a violent, heinous act? Pain, hurt, that ultimately turned into anger. And you don't know how to express it other than hurting other people, because hurt people do what? Hurt people. I'm going to say that again. Hurt people hurt people. This 12-year-old kid was abused, beaten, alone, isolated, and he was the only child. He used to go in his parents' room at nighttime and stand over them with their gun, but he didn't have the courage to kill them. But that's who the anger was really toward. It wasn't toward his best friend, his next door neighbor. One day she was outside playing. Terrence's mother and father was going to go work a concession stand, and they found some dishes up under his bed. His dad said, you know, when I get back, you're going to get it. That fear of his father saying, you're going to get it, knowing what he's going to get, is torturing. The anticipation, the wait, is tormenting his kid. And he can't run away. He knows it's coming. He hears Kelly outside playing basketball. They ride to school together, they play together, and both of them was exceptional basketball players. He goes outside to play basketball with Kelly. A few minutes into the game, Kelly says, I hear the phone ringing. Because this 12-year-old kid is succumbed with fear and agony and anxiety about being abused, he don't hear the phone ring. He tells himself, I'm going to go in the house and call her. If the phone is not busy, I'm going to kill her. This is what you call displaced anger. This is what you call displaced anger. Walking around mad about something else, hurt about something else, but you take it out on the first thing you see. First person you encounter. I know a kid went inside and kicked his sister. He's tired of watching her. He's tired of being the big brother. He's tired of being a parent. He can't go to Six Flags. He can't do nothing because he always got to watch his baby sister. He's really mad at his mom. He went in the house and, I hate you! He kicked his sister and killed her. Guy by the name of Lucas, 14 years old. But let me finish telling you about Terrence. Remember, I told you I grew up with children who killed their mothers and their fathers. I grew up with children who murdered grandparents, who raped 6-month-old babies. So Terrence goes inside, calls Kelly, and Kelly answers the phone. So in his mind, she lied because the phone was supposed to be busy if someone was on it. So he coerces her to come over and stabs her 93 times. I can't even do this 93 times, young brothers. And I don't even have a knife in my hand. What's in a 12-year-old child that can drive him to stab 93 times? And when you're getting stabbed, that bone, it gets stuck. You got to wrestle to pull it out. And she's saying to him, I won't tell, Terrence. Please stop. At some point, he drops the knife. This is my best friend I'm telling y'all about. I met him in the boys' home. I'm describing a good kid who done something horrible. I'm going to say this again. I'm describing a good kid who done something horrible. He drops the knife. She said, I won't say nothing. I won't tell. He picked the knife back up and finished stabbing. I asked him, man, why? He said, I was more afraid of my father than I was the police. This is a 12-year-old kid with an undeveloped brain who's been abused since he was 5 years old for any and everything that he did. This 12-year-old kid takes this lifeless body. Can you imagine how much blood was in that house? A lot. He drags her through the house, takes her out to the backyard. Can you imagine? What's in a 12-year-old head's mind while he's doing this? Is he a monster? Is this a bad person that's doing this? He's 12. What's inside of a 12-year-old that can develop these kind of actions? Where he kills her, drags her body to the backyard, lay her parallel up against the fence, and stack firewood on top of her to hide her body. To hide her body. And go in the house and clean up the blood. How much cleaning can you do? And for the next day or so, pretend like he don't know where she at and helps go look for her. Before I go any further, I want you to know and to believe this. No child was born bad. There's no such thing as a bad child. We mimic what we see, we repeat what we hear based off indirect teaching, direct teachings, or just observations of the environment. We don't ask the